We're Hassani and Danielle Pettiford, and we're a real couple with real problems who almost called it quits.
I was very frustrated. I became very disconnected, very jaded and cold.
We have 4 children, going on 20 years of marriage, and we practice what we preach.
Our mission, to change the way couples relate to one another and teach them the skills needed to improve the quality of their relationships. This is the Couples Academy Show.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Couples Academy Show. My name is Hassani. Good to see you here this morning. A little bit of a late start, but here. And glad to be here and glad to be with you in the land of the living. Listen, my name is, I just said that, Hassani. You're watching the Couples Academy Show. Just said that. But we want to know who you are. So whoever you're dialing in from, logging in from, connect with us. We're glad that you're here. We want to delve into a topic before we jump into another series. It's like sometimes you need to go back to the basics. You got to go back to the fundamentals, because let's think about it. When you think about basketball, right? What wins games? Layups, free throws, those basic fundamental things. It's not just about the slam dunks and the 3-point shot, but it's the basics. And sometimes we need to go back to the basics and develop the fundamentals for a healthy, successful relationship in order to move things forward. So we're talking about reconnecting through the 5 love languages. Now, many people have heard of this book. Many people have read this book. Many people know what their spouse's love languages are, but don't implement or communicate with them. And many have never heard of this ever before. It's one of the #1 top-selling I have the book around here somewhere. It's one of the international best-selling books for marriage. I mean, if you've ever read a book on marriage, it would be that one. And I think it's important that we talk about how to reconnect. Now, typically, it is a foundational book that you would read when you're beginning a relationship, when you're initiating a connection. But what happens is when you've been together for so long, a disconnect can happen, an emotional disconnect for a variety of different reasons. And the way to get reconnected is through these particular 5 love languages. So we encourage you to tune in today. But before we get started, listen, as you know, the Last Chance Weekend is coming up December the 10th through the 12th, and we're excited about that. We just have a few slots left, so make sure you register today. And I promise you that I would start unpacking and unrolling some testimonials that we've had from that particular week. And so, today and over the next few days, you're going to hear from some of them. But our first one is Sheila Gardner. Her and her husband came down here, I believe from the Carolinas, had an amazing weekend. This is what she had to say. Check it out.
Hi, my name is Sheila Gardner, and I am from Georgetown, South Carolina. And this weekend was absolutely amazing. The team here at Couples Academy did an awesome job. My husband and I came here in a stuck space, never thinking that this experience would allow us to move forward. We learned so many tools to help us, to put us further along. Not to say that the work that we have ahead of us is not going to be hard, but everything that we learned, everything that we took away from, the people that we met, the support system that we now have through Couples Academy, words just can't express what it has done for myself and my husband, for us to have a new beginning. And for that, thank you, Couples Academy.
Would you recommend this to others?
Would I already started a list of who I'm going to recommend. I have a friend that's currently right now going through, and I'm definitely going to suggest this is a must for them to come to and experience. So yes, I definitely will do referrals, recommendations. It's an A+.
It's always a good feeling when somebody has a transformational experience. I tell you, they have a story and they were not on the same page and in alignment and not where they needed to be. And it's amazing what what a day can do, what a day can do. And then every other day thereafter built on top of that first day. They were completely disconnected and found their alignment and found agreement, and now are operating in their purpose and are amazing together. And they're going to be entering into the Moving Forward program that really gives you the support after you've done a deep dive, like an intensive. So listen, if you're still vacillating and on the fence, maybe you want it, your partner doesn't, reach out to us anyway. Let's just have a conversation. As you know, you can go to couplesacademy.org, or you can just text me. Call me, 678-200-8996. So let's dive in. We're talking about the 5 love languages, this fundamental book that each of you should get. I would highly recommend it. The 5 love languages. Now, of course, we encourage you to get our book, right? We've written 14 of them. But anytime we come across something that we believe will be pivotal and should be added to your library, we're going to encourage that you do it. And the basic concept is that we all desire to be loved, but we desire to be loved differently. And one of the challenges is we have a tendency of loving people the way we want to be loved. And oftentimes it doesn't work because our needs and desires are different from our spouse's needs and desires. And so the whole notion, you've heard the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And that works in every area of life except for relationships. Because if we have different needs and speak different languages, I can't do unto you what I would want done unto me because I'm meeting my need, but I'm not meeting your need. And so rather than the golden rule, there is a new rule called the platinum rule. And the platinum rule is do unto others as they want done unto them. So I'm going to do for you what you want. You're going to do for me what I want. Doesn't that make sense? I'm not going to do for you what I want. You're not going to do for me what you want. Sometimes it's the simple things that make all the difference, but we overcomplicate, we confuse, we go down all these different directions, or we make assumptions and have expectations about what our spouse wants and needs, and we've missed the mark. This is why we say become a student of your spouse. Because the more you begin to learn about your partner, the more effective you will be in that relationship. You'll learn how to communicate. You'll learn how to interact. You'll learn what to do, but you'll also learn what not to do. So let's talk about these 5 love languages. There are 5. Okay. Now, many of you can follow along. You know them like the back of your hand because you've been living, breathing, walking, talking in these for quite some time. And for others, this is new. The first love language is, and this is in no particular order, is what we will call words of affirmation. So write that down. Number 2, quality time. Number 3, the receiving of gifts. Number 4, acts of service. Number 5, physical touch. Okay, so let's go through these fundamentally. Number 1, words of affirmation. Now, by words of affirmation, to affirm, right? To affirm your partner, to speak life into, to encourage, to support, to validate, to acknowledge, to cheer, to motivate, to compliment, to use encouraging, loving, caring, tender words. That is words of affirmation. And the reality is some people have a need to be affirmed. Doesn't mean that they're weak. Doesn't mean that they have low self-esteem. What's wrong with your ego? How come I got to tell you this? Like, why do you need to be told? Because that speaks to me. Because when you speak words, I feel loved. And some people need to hear it. I remember reading something in this book and it said, I forget who, Mark Twain said that I can live 2 months off of a compliment. Wow. I don't know if that would work in most relationships, because if the only time I compliment or affirm or speak life into you is every 2 months, now we're talking about 6 times a year, you will be living in the valley of dry bones in your particular relationship. And so we have to be more intentional to form our lips to communicate and to edify our spouse. Because guess what? We have no problem complimenting coworkers. We have no problem complimenting people at church, strangers, affirming, bigging up, making a big deal out of. But what about the one that you live with? What does your spouse need to hear? What have they been longing for a long time? How about I love you? Those are affirming words. Why I gotta tell you I love you? Don't you know I love you? Don't I pay the bills around here? Don't I put food on the table? Don't the kids have clothes on their back? Don't we live in a decent neighborhood? That proves I love you. Okay, well, great. Those are acts of service, but those aren't words of affirmation. And what happens is you get stuck in your own way because you say, well, I didn't grow up like that, and I didn't hear my mama compliment my dad, or my dad compliment my mom, so therefore I didn't. What's the point of it? You're extra. You're needy. You need too much. Just deal with what you're dealing with. And that begins the disconnect. Because even though you're doing these other things, you're not directly speaking the language that your spouse needs. And so what would it take for you to make a pivot and an adjustment and to do exactly what your spouse needs? What would that take? A decision? What is it that is within you, these internal brakes, these resistors that keep you from doing the necessary thing to give your spouse what he or she needs? So if they need words of affirmation, give them. And so for some of you, it's difficult because the thought is in the head, but the head bone's not connected to the mouth bone, and it's hard for you to form your lips to articulate what you're thinking and feeling on the inside. And so you have to be intentional to step outside of your box, step outside of your comfort zone, be vulnerable, be willing to be rejected, be willing to be ignored, whatever your apprehension or your fear or your anxiety is, you got to push through that feeling. You got to feel the fear and do it anyway. And when you do that, it'll make a difference, because all it took was a word in due season that gave life to your spouse. And then all of a sudden their countenance changes, their energy changes. And then all of a sudden they begin to show up and interact and move and breathe and differently in your presence because you were willing to do what was necessary. Now, here's the other deal. When you do it, you can't live off of what you did 2 months ago. Consistency is the key to your success in your relationship. It's not doing it or saying, I did that, I've done that, I already know that, I already done that. No, what are you doing? Okay? It's about creating that's why they call it a habit. It's habitual, it's consistent, right? Your consistency is the key to your success. So if your wife needs words, if your husband needs words of affirmation, create a regular routine and a cycle and a pattern by which you do it. Come up with a list of all the things that you love, that you appreciate, that you want to congratulate, build up, edify your spouse about. Write a list and creatively share that with your partner. Sometimes we hear it all the time. I just want to know that you're still attracted to me and that I'm beautiful and that I look good and that I smell good and that I'm handsome and that I'm dressed nice. What does it take before they go, hey, babe, looking good today? Oh, man, you in that suit. Oh, man, that dress, girl, you wearing that dress. What does that take? Because guess what? They're hearing it when they leave the house. Oh, yes, they are. And if other people can affirm and speak life into, and you don't, it's a desert, the valley of dry bones. Over the course of time, it can create a problem. Second, all right, we're talking about quality time. This is a huge one. Many people have a need and a desire for quality time because we've talked about this before in our book, The Audacity of Marriage. There's a chapter entitled A Time-Rich Marriage, how to have a time-rich marriage, because many of you have a time-starved marriage. You spent most of your time together before you said I do, but now that you are married, the relationship, you fit it in, you squeeze it in, whatever you can. But I got work. I got ministry. I got extracurricular. I'm a part of this organization. Listen, it's all about the kids, and whatever we need to do to sacrifice time for the kids, they number one on our list. Wrong. No, your spouse is number one. Children are number two. Period. It is partners first, parents second. Now, the children may get more time throughout the course of the day, right? The quantity amount of time is not synonymous with the quality of time. I mean, think about it. My marriage is more important than my job, but I need my job in order to maintain my marriage. I spend 8, 10, 12 hours a day on my job, less hours with my spouse, but I prioritize time with my spouse. I don't allow my job or my extracurricular or my friends or my kids or anything to compromise the priority that my wife has in my life. So we are careful and intentional to create space and time together as a couple. Quality time, not physical proximity. And we've talked about this before. There's a difference between physical proximity and quality time. Physical proximity is, well, we live in the same house, don't we? Yeah, but I don't see you, Joker. I don't care if you live in a palatial mansion or if you live in a 1-bedroom or studio apartment. It doesn't matter. It can feel as if you're miles apart, as far apart as the east is from the west, if you're not intentional in engaging in quality time. Because we could be sitting down on the couch, you're flipping through a magazine, turning channels on the TV. We are not connected to each other. We are connected to other things. We are in two different worlds, in two different galaxies, though we are in the same physical proximity of one another. You see that? So it's just like, okay, you're on your phone. So maybe I need to leave the house and call you. Is that the only way that I can spend time with you? So you're more connected and more in love with your phone than me. You touch that phone more than me. So let me leave the house and I'm gonna call you, okay? Or let me go in another room so I could text you, because obviously me up in here, this ain't doing nothing for you. You see how crazy that is? We go out on dates, we're connected to other people. We go on family trips, we're connected to other people. We're at the dining room table, we're connected to other people. No quality time. Quality time is when time is spent with a focus on each other or on the same thing. That's quality time. Going out on dates, hobbies, shared activities, doing things together. It is togetherness. That's quality time. And so many relationships are starved of it, but yet need it. And so for those couples, for those of you who are working in crazy hours or working off shifts, one is working in the day, one is working at night, you only see each other on the weekends, or one is on this coast, another is on that coast, you only see each other every couple of months, one is in one country, one is in another country. Like separation and time apart, whether you're living in the same home or not, can have an impact on your relationship. And dare I say, 99.9% of the couples who come to us, though they don't articulate it, one of their main issues, one of the culprits of their emotional relational demise is the lack of time. The lack of time. Time is a glue that binds you together. It is fundamental. It is the crux and the core of a relationship. And what you do with that time is critically important. All right, let's go to the next one. Receiving gifts. See, I used to think that, why are you so shallow? Why is it all about a gift? What you materialistic? What's this all about? How come every time I got to dig in my pockets and I got to buy you this and I got to buy you that? What's that about? See, you can look at this through the wrong lens, or you could say, you know what? Gifts are an outward expression of love. It represents, wow, you were thinking about me. Oh my God, you went out of your way and you had me on your mind and your heart. You did something nice for me. You were intentional. That's what it represents for a lot of people who love gifts. So it's not about name brands. It's not about how much you spent. You know, one of the things that Danielle loves when I would go away, because I would travel a lot, she said, listen, when you come back, make sure you give me a mug. Give me a mug from the city that you're in, from the country that you're in, because that was her gift of choice that she loved. And the fact that I would intentionally look through mugs and find something that was unique and different, she felt love. It filled her tank, right? How much is a mug? $5, $10, $20 max? But it's what it represented for her, because when she was a child, that's what her dad did for her, gifted her, bought her little things, That's how dad loved his daughter. That shaped a desire within her. And now that I am now responsible for doing what dad did, because she bore her dad's name, now she bears my name, right? And so now I love her through gifts. She loves mugs. She loves other little things. She loves nice things too. But it's not about price and name brand, any of that. It could be something I make in my closet. It could be made out of paper mache. The fact that I did it speaks life to her. These are the things, guys. These are the things when we understand that all it takes is just a little bit of this and a little bit of that to win our spouse's heart back, to reconnect with them. That's when things begin to change. Guys, you're watching the Couples Academy show. Stay right there. We got 2 more love languages. We'll be right back after this quick break and these few announcements. All right, guys, you're watching the Couples Academy show. We are back. We're talking about reconnecting with the 5 love languages. Do you know your spouse's love language? Does your spouse know yours? Do you communicate with it? Do you engage in it? Is it a part of your normal everyday routine to win your spouse's heart back or to keep the heart that you have? That's what we're asking this morning. Listen, we've been talking about the 5. We started off with 3. Number 1, words of affirmation. Number 2, quality time. And number 3, the receiving of gifts. So let's go right into the 4th one. The 4th one is acts of service, to do nice things for. Hey, babe, listen, I just came from the store. I forgot to get such and such. Would you mind please going back? I know it's 20 minutes out the way, but I really could use this because I'm working on this. And would you mind? Sure, babe. What do you need? Just text me the list. I'll go out and get it. Okay. And I'll make sure I'll take a picture of it, make sure I got the right brand, because you know, every time I go to the store, you ask for this, they don't have it. I get that. I come back and it's a problem because it didn't have nuts in it. And it didn't have these amount, like all this stuff. So no problem, bro. No problem, babe. So what do you, hey, do you mind? Listen. We have company coming over. Listen, I'm gonna work on this room. Can you vacuum? Can you just sweep the floor? I mean, it's not a big deal. Can you clean out the refrigerator? Or can you fix that light that's been broken for 3 months? Like, can you fix the gate? Can you mow the lawn? Can you do something? Listen, I'm working on a project for school, and I could really use a study partner. Would you mind, I don't know, just working with me with these flashcards and asking me these questions and staying up? You know, I got to stay up late tonight. Do you mind staying up with me tonight? Sure, babe, no problem. How can I serve you? Because when I go into a restaurant, The server serves. When I go into a hotel, they serve, and they want to make sure that the experience is amazing, because they don't want customer satisfaction, they want customer loyalty. And the way that you gain customer loyalty is by increasing the quality of your service, customer service. But if you treat your spouse like a customer, see, many of you are in customer service. You deal with people every day, customers, clients, whoever. See, it's about maintaining that client. See, some people don't know how to be professional, don't know how to treat those who do business with them well. So this whole concept of quality, customer service or acts of service for a spouse, they don't get it. But for those of you who have been trained, right, in terms of how to treat other people, how to win business, how to maintain business, if you take that same concept and bring it into your marriage, it will transform everything, my friends. And so it's not about you being a slave to your partner, and I'm a grown man and I'm a grown woman. You do it. You grown. Why do I got to do it? I'm not your child. You can't order me around. No. See, you have the wrong mindset. You have the wrong concept. See, when you come alongside and help your spouse with, or when you do something for your spouse, you're tapping into the power of partnership. For if they can't rely on you, what do they need you for? What did they sign up for? I said I do. I've been doing for you all these years. You can't do for me this? Come on now. This should be a mutually beneficial relationship. I do for you, you do for me. I need you. Because if she's constantly doing for me and I don't do for her, it becomes a parasitical relationship. Parasite. Well, I'm sucking the life out of her. I'm taking from her, but I'm not pouring back into her. And it is my responsibility to pour into her as she pours into me, for her to pour into me as I pour into her. And that way we both are filled, right? We are filled. Our cup runneth over. We're not empty. We're not dry. We're not bare bones, right? When you see the grass green on the other side, somebody's watering that grass. Somebody's maintaining that grass. So if you complaining about, why don't my wife do this? And why doesn't my husband? Well, do you have an economy in that household where you do for each other? Because if you do, brown grass will turn green. Green grass will begin to grow. Basic concepts, folks. The fifth love language is what we would call physical touch. Physical touch is critically important. And when we say physical touch, we're not talking about sex. We're talking about non-sexual physical touch. These are the things that are critically important because, listen, I'm a touch guy. I love being touched. When I'm touched, I feel loved. Like Danielle can compliment me all day long. Thanks, babe. But if she walks past me and what happened to my hug? Where's my kiss? At the end of the night when we're going to bed, good night, she turns her back. And I'm like, well, can I get a kiss? When you're leaving off to work and you're gone, or maybe you're gone for a day or two, and there's no embrace, there's no kiss, I'm like, did I do something wrong? Do you not love me? Do you not care? She can give me acts of service. She can give me quality time. She can give me words of affirmation. She can give me gifts. But if I don't have touch, I feel starved. But wait a minute, Asani, didn't I just do this for you yesterday? Didn't I just buy you that? Didn't I just speak and edify you and big you up? Didn't I do all these things? Yes, babe, but you did not touch me. And that's what I need to feel loved. So the key is learning how to love your spouse. You can love your spouse genuinely, but you can love your spouse wrong. That's a hashtag. That's too long though. You can love your spouse genuinely, but you can love them wrong. And after 20 years, I still got to tell you, and after 15 years, you still haven't figured it out, and after 3 years, you still don't know. Listen, Joker, this is what I need. Give me what I need. Tell me what you need. I'll give you what you need. We both win. It's so basic. See, the more you complicate things, the harder things are to accomplish. But when you simplify it, things get easy. So I want you to have a conversation with your spouse, because the reality is we all have two love languages. There's a primary love language, there's a secondary love language. So when we moved to Costa Rica, we went there with our native tongue, which was English. Danielle became fluent in Spanish. That was her secondary language. Does that make sense? Primary, secondary. Some of you speak 2 languages. We know I have a friend who speaks 5, 6 languages. Jeff, one of the practitioners, he speaks 5 languages, right? And so listen, we all have a primary love language. We all have a secondary love language. Some of us are equal across the board with all 5. I got a need for all 5 of them. Well, there's a test that you can take, a quick quiz that asks you a series of questions that will help you determine what your love languages are, what your spouse's love languages are. And once you learn them, now you have an incredible tool, right? Info, access to information, insight on how to show up better in your relationship. And they have this app called the Love Nudge. You can download this on your phone. If you have an iPhone, get it. If you have an Android, I guess. Obviously, I'm an iPhone user. And so, listen, you download this thing on your phone, and it prompts you and gives you notifications on how to love your spouse through their language on that particular day. And then all of a sudden it begins to fill them up because we've got this love tank within us. And just like you put gas in a car, right, in order to take you from one destination to another, we have a love tank. And that love tank can either be empty, quarter tank, half tank full, 3/4 full, or we're on a full overflowing tank of love. And so one of the questions that you ask, babe, how's your love tank? Oh, my love tank is, I'm overflowing, babe. I'm loving you because you loving me and I feel good and we all good. Well, how's your love tank? Well, since you asked, it's about half full. Half full? Why is it half full? What can I do to fill up your tank? Whatever I need to do. But well, you know what to do, Joker. You just haven't been doing it. You know I love touch. You know I need quality time. You know you haven't bought me a gift. Listen, and really, this is where we mess up. The holidays come around. I don't know what to get her. I don't know what to do. He has everything. I can't figure it out. And then you stumble, mumble, and fumble over a holiday. And now your spouse is salty because you did not show up. You ask him, what do you want 2 days before Christmas? What do you want a day before the birthday? Like, really? And so you can do something, you can get something, but remember, it's what it represents. It's you going out of your way. It's you being intentional. And if you've got to ask a day or two before, so number one, this is a last minute thing. You didn't put time, energy, and effort into it. And you're going to ask me, like, don't you know me? Pay attention. What do I buy? What do I like? What are the experiences that I enjoy? These are the things that you got to be mindful of. Guys, learn your love tank. Learn your love tank. Learn your love language. Learn your spouse's love language and fill up their love tank consistently. These are the things that are necessary to help transform your marriage. So if you've lost your connection and there's a wall up, there's an emotional disconnect, you're not on the same page, the way you get your spouse back, the way that you reconnect is through the love language. It's foundational, folks, is what you need. Now, listen, I hope that was helpful. Didn't get a chance to read your comments or any of your questions, but we will carry them over into tonight's show on Ask the Experts. Listen, but before we take this away, we're going to end with the promotion for the Last Chance Weekend, and we will close out the show. So listen, guys, we love you. Reach out to us. We're here for you. Anything we can do to serve you, this is what we do. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.